Is this the clicker? Yeah? Happy days. Okay. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Not like me, not to want to make an entrance. Hope is not a strategy is the title of my talk today. It's really nice to have hope. It's really nice to be positive. But is that really how you want to run your business? My name's Ashleigh Watson. I have been the owner of Copper Square for the last 10 years. We are what's probably known as a boutique marketing agency. You can tell, hopefully, from my accent that I'm based in the north of Ireland. But I work with solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and businesses across the UK and Ireland. Louise describes me as a proper marketer, which I think is a compliment. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing and the vice chair of the Chartered Institute of Marketing in Ireland. So I'm really, really passionate about marketing and about strategy. And I don't want you to be put off and think, strategy, that sounds like really serious and grown up, and I just want to do the thing in my business. What I'm going to take you through are 7 steps to help you put some systems and some processes and a little bit of understanding in place to help you really grow your business. Because as an entrepreneur, we're creative. Our minds are constantly going. We're thinking, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. We cannot do all of the things all of the time. Build it and they will come is one of the big flaws of an entrepreneurial mindset, because they will not come if they do not know about you and you do not know who it is you're talking to. We cannot rely solely on social media virality. Social media is rented space, and I know we're here today at a TubeFest. We're here to learn about YouTube and all the other social media marketing tools, but we have no control over those platforms. And if you are solely relying on communicating and connecting with your audience just on YouTube, just on LinkedIn, or just on Instagram, what happens when those platforms disappear tomorrow? Where is your business? We can get caught up in being product-led. We need more stuff, we need more things. We can get caught up in being sales-led. We need to buy more stuff and buy more things. We commonly misunderstand what a brand is, and we think that's our logo, that's our colors, that's our website. That's branding. A brand is what other people say about you. How can you control what other people are saying about you? And we ignore the data. So we create the posts, we make the videos, we have the website, we do all the things, and we're so busy doing the things that we don't look to see what's working. And I've been caught in that trap as well, and that's not actually an Elvis lyric. Anybody who I was chatting to last night, that's sort of accidental, that one. So do you think this is marketing? Do you think having a website, having a YouTube channel, an Instagram profile, an email list, Google Ads, are you sort of confident, well, I know what marketing is, that's marketing because I've got all of these things? This is not marketing. These are tools to help you market. Marketing is the system and the process that sits behind all of this. And this is one of my favorite definitions. So marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer requirements profitably. And that is my favorite word, profitably, because we're all here to make money. Otherwise, we've got a really, really expensive hobby. What this is telling us is that marketing is about building trust and creating value, and the exchange is the money. So let's think about that as we're thinking about your own business. So I use a 7 C's framework for success, and it covers clarity, customer, competition, choosing the right channel, creativity, community, and calculating success. And I'm going to take you through each of those today in a little bit more detail. So clarity, let's start with who you are. Where is your passion? What gets you excited in the morning about getting up and going to work and running your own business? Because let's face it, I gave up the 9-to-5 corporate world for the 24/7 of being my own boss. It's not easy. So what is it that actually makes you think, I want to make a difference, I want to get up and do this? Next, think about, what do you do? What is your core purpose? What is your vision? And ask yourself, what makes you the only? There's a brilliant book called Zag, and the whole premise of it is, when everybody else zigs, you zag. So why should I listen to your podcast, Lisa, over another life coach? Why should I follow Louise to learn about LinkedIn over another LinkedIn coach? What is it about these people that makes them different? What's their zag? So I'd like you to write down and think about today, or whatever your business is the only blank space that does. And it looks really simple, but it's actually really, really complex. And once you're able to kind of really drill down on this, it makes it a bit easier. Do you remember this morning Washington was getting us all to think about our VBC, our verbal business card? So really thinking about who we are, what we do, and why we do it. Next, be really clear about your goals. Understand your numbers, the impact that your business can have, and the timeline. So when do you want to achieve it by? So using social media as a marketing tool, so thinking about, rather than saying, I want more followers, I want to grow my Instagram following by 2,000 new followers in the next 3 months. So you're being really specific with that. If your marketing objective is to raise awareness, then social media, you're going to be looking at likes and follows, and you're going to be able to see, well, is social media actually doing the thing that I want it to do as part of my overall marketing mix? Next, think about your customers. So think about who loves you. Think about who are your loyal customers, who are your super fans, who are the people that will engage and follow and share your content. Starting with your customer, you have to understand who it is you're serving, but more importantly, what is the problem you're trying to solve for them? Start off by thinking demographics and then go beyond. So we want to get really granular into understanding who our customers are. What challenges do they face, and what options do they have to solve this? So it's much easier to have a conversation with somebody that you know than it is to have a conversation with a complete stranger. So last night we were all at a meet and greet, we were getting to know each other, we were telling stories, and we were starting to build up a relationship with other people, and we were following them on social media because we liked what they do, we had a connection with them, there were similarities in what we were doing. Start to build out what we call customer personas, and in marketing we give the people names. So, for example, if you are a drinks brand and you are creating a low alcohol drink, you would say that the target customer is aged 25 to 30, they work in a marketing role, they earn £20,000 per year, they like to go out to the gym, they like to go drinking with their friends, but they're health conscious, and so they'll drink a lighter beer. And let's call this person Dave. So when we are creating social media content, we are speaking to Dave. We know him, we know what they like, what they dislike, we know where they hang out, we know which social media platforms they're using, we know if they prefer short form content over image or stories or whatever that might be. And you start to build out a series of customer personas, and that way you have really got to know who your audience are. Next, think about your value proposition. So what are the benefits or value in the change that you want to make? So what you're trying to do then is match this to your customers' wants, needs, and fears, to your benefits, features, and experiences. So In marketing, you talk about your features, your advantages, and your benefits. So be thinking about what's the problem, what's the issue that my customer has, and how am I trying to help them? You're not, for an example, so in marketing, you don't sell, if you're selling a drill, you don't sell a drill, you sell a picture on the wall. If you're promoting, you're selling beds, you're selling a good night's sleep. You're not selling the bed. So start trying to think of it from your customer's point of view. Research your market. So marketing 101, identify your target market. Ask them, do some market research. Where do they hang out? Start to follow, look at similar accounts. Show up regularly and often with the same consistent message. In marketing, we would have said there were 7 different touch points. And to be honest, with digital, I think it's more than likely there are 77 different touch points that you need to see and hear the same message consistently on repeat. Seth Godin, for anybody that's interested in marketing, is like marketing God. And he says, don't find customers for your products, find products for your customers. People don't need more stuff. You need to solve the problems that are already there. Look then at your competition. So have a look at their digital presence. What's their website like? What social media platforms are they using? Look at how often they're posting. Look at the type of content they're posting. But look in the comment section, because that's where people are asking you, so potentially your audience are wanting to find out more about this industry, and that will prompt and give you ideas for more content. And then look broader at the market. But the real competition is in clutter. So we live not only in a faster world, we live in a world of more products, more features, more advertising, more messaging, more clutter. When I started my career in marketing and communications, it was in a press office. So I was writing news releases, and I might not look it, but we didn't use email. We sent them via fax to the Belfast Telegraph and the Irish News. I mean, it's just incredible how fast technology has moved. And with that comes more opportunity, more places to tell stories. You have Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, like the list just goes on and on and on. And it's not about more, it's about being different. You do not have to be everywhere, but you need to be the place that your customers are, and you need to show up consistently. And it's not enough just to have a multi-channel approach anymore. You need to have a multi-format approach. So if anybody was at Louise's talk this morning where it was about repurposing, so having one video and repurposing that to a blog, an email, Instagram posts, whatever that might be. So it's looking at multi-format. It's having that one message and one theme and saying it in lots and lots of different ways. Our job as creators on social media and as entrepreneurs is to stop the scroll. Don't offer more, offer different. Think about telling stories. Think about using the different content features that exist on the social media platforms. Embrace authenticity. And I think authenticity is a little bit of a buzzword, but I think if you try and be something else, you'll be caught out really quickly. Consider blending traditional and digital media. Don't put all your eggs in the Facebook, Instagram basket. There are lots of tools within your marketing toolkit that you can be using and drawing on. The big thing with social media is that it is social media. You're talking to people, so understanding your customers, understanding your audience's wants and needs. Yes, we have to be mindful of an algorithm. Well, we are not creating content for an algorithm. We are creating content for people. So really understanding what they want and need, what type of content resonates most with them is going to help you. And having conversations and asking questions is what's going to get you engagement and growth on social media platforms. Because they are not broadcast, they are not standing, shouting to the masses. It's about getting engagement on your content. So creating a content plan will really help with that, aligned with your overall organization marketing goals, and bring in some pillars, thinking about, right, what are the big things that we need to let people know? What are the problems that we are solving? What's our big moonshot? And how can we use social media to help us achieve that? So you want to create content that entertains, engages, educates, promotes, and builds community. So 1 in 5 of your posts on social media is promote. If all you're doing is promoting, people are going to switch off. Because I didn't go to Instagram or LinkedIn or TikTok to be sold to. I went because I wanted to find out what was happening, what my friends were up to, and your content is interrupting my scroll. So what is your message or your big hook that is going to make me hit stop on the scroll and want to find out more? There has to be value in it. There has to be a story behind it. So you have to be educating me, entertaining me. I want to be part of a community, and then the sales will come. So putting that into some sort of a structure, we would have a content theme, and we would break that down, similar to how Louise talked about this morning, break that down into a post, into a video, into a blog post, put that out on email. So you're trying to work smarter, but you're always being consistent and going back to your one overall objective. Marketing is no longer about the stuff you make, but the stories you tell. Again, another quote from, I feel like a bit of a fangirl of Seth Godin, but he is really good. So it's about stories. It's about storytelling. We connect with people through stories. We learn through stories. We teach our children through stories. A story gives people a reason to sympathize with a character, to care about what they're saying, and to understand the plot. So stories are shared. They create a following. And the best ones inspire an audience to act. That's what you want to happen on social media. You want people to share your content, to follow your business, and to do something, to act, whether that's sign up to an email list, share the post, buy the thing, whatever it might be. So taking that storytelling format, you have the message, the evidence, and the action. You have a headline, a big bold statement, you back it up with some value, and then you have your call to action at the end. And if you use this format, which is quite common in like press writing, and if you use that format on social media, you'll start to think a little bit differently about why you're using social media, why you're using email lists, whatever that might be. And your social media content will start to have a purpose, and people will start to engage with it, and then you'll start to fall back in love with it because it's actually working for you. If it comes to a Tuesday night and you're just taking a picture and throwing it up and hoping for the best, it's not going to happen because there's no strategy behind it. You don't know who you're talking to. There's no purpose or meaning behind the post. And ultimately, we want to always be building community. So thinking about building trust. People buy from people. They buy from people they like, know, and trust. And that's what you want your social media and your marketing to do for you. So think about the communities that exist that you could be part of. Social media rewards those who show up with purpose. So stop hoping and start leading. Calculating then, you want to look at your metrics and adjust your plan accordingly. A strategy is not a big document that sits in a file somewhere. It is fluid, it is evolving, and you have to always be going back and looking at and adjusting your plan. Platform insights, as have been shared by other speakers this morning, you can look at them in real time, so you can see what's working, what's driving engagement, what type of content are people interested in. And the best marketing decisions are data-driven. So test, try something different, look at what works, and rinse and repeat. Hope is a wish, strategy is a plan. Which one do you trust to grow your business? And that's from me, not Seth Godin. I have no idea how quickly I went through that or not, but I've got 20 minutes left. That's incredible. And that never actually happens. I'm normally like getting pulled off the stage. You can connect with me on socials. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to answer questions now. I'm also happy to take questions afterwards as well. Thank you.
Fantastic. Right, so questions. We've got loads of time for questions. Hands up. Anybody?
I've done Matt a favour today, haven't I?
I don't know.
Getting through that.
Anybody else? One question? I've got a question.
Okay.
A question. So, you talked about all the different strategies. You talked
Yep.
about the different content types.
Yep.
And the previous speaker said about, don't mix content types together, especially on YouTube. So I do long form and short form. Does one feed the other? So I do lots of stuff on Instagram, and now I started YouTube. And she says, right, okay, on YouTube, make sure you do long form and let the short form feed it.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, so if you create one big piece of content, and then you can chop that up into smaller pieces. So if you've got one long form video, you can chop that up into little clips for LinkedIn or for Instagram stories or for whatever that might be. But everything has got an objective and a purpose to it. And so it's all working towards the one theme or the one content pillar. So it's trying to break down that overwhelm that you're not always having to create new content all the time.
LinkedIn is there's this thing about LinkedIn's looking like more social, more stuff, more videos, more things. Do you think there's a line whereby, okay, now it's, in terms of how social you get, or do you think it will get to the point where, and it's all game on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I mean, I think Louise is probably the person to answer specific questions about LinkedIn, but I think the platforms are responding to what customers want. So they've seen the growth in TikTok, they've seen the growth in short-form video with YouTube, and so the other platforms are responding to that with Instagram Reels and now LinkedIn videos. And that's the type of content that people want to consume. They want short-form video. So it's about using the tools that are available to us on those platforms, but also being mindful that we actually have a day job to do as well. And we're here because we run a business. Yes, we're sort of falling into that content creator trap as well, but it's about creating the one piece of video and then chopping it up into different formats.
Chopping it up. We've got a question here. We've got a mic. Where's the mic? Where's the mic gone? I'll give you the mic here. There's the mic here. There you go, my friend. Thanks.
Thank you, Ashleigh. You
welcome.
talked about customers earlier, knowing your customers, and then the various different platforms. Now, the platforms generally will have different type of people on there with different intentions, different age, etc. So when we are thinking about our message and our customers, would you just focus on the same content on all the platforms and it just picks out the relevant people that you are trying to communicate with, or would you adjust your content for each platform so it's more relevant for that audience?
I would adjust my content for each platform, because what works on TikTok, tone and message, might not work on LinkedIn, because they are different audiences with different wants and needs. So it's not about having the scattergun approach. It's about being really specific about what it is that you do, who you do it for, and the platform that they are using. So you don't have to be everywhere. Yes, we can have the one video and repurpose it and put it out everywhere. I'm not sure that you should. I think that you should focus on the platform that your customers use and get known as the expert there.
Hi, Ashleigh, thank you. It's been really interesting. I wonder what advice you have for us about creating content for people at different stages of the journey.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, so content that would attract people who are new to you,
Yes.
and then nurturing them along the way to the point where they're going to take a conversion towards working with you.
Yeah, so thinking about that sort of customer journey. So somebody arrives on your Instagram or your website now, and they don't know anything about you. They're not going to sit and scroll through that feed. So it's about having that content plan where you have what we would call like evergreen content, so the who you are, what you do, and having that still scheduled to go out and repeating your messaging, because we're all really busy on social media and we're scrolling. So try and use it in a different format. And thinking about, you need to have awareness. You need to have people need to know about you before they're going to buy from you. So you need to build up that trust, and you need to have it's not all about the numbers, it's all about the metrics of having a massive following, because I don't think that you do. I think you need to have an engaged following. I think there's a big difference there. So it's about asking people asking questions on social media and trying to get engagement on your posts and building it that way before you would start to spend money on adverts or anything like that, because Zuckerberg has enough money and doesn't need any more of ours.
Great. Any more questions? Yes, I've got a question here. Thank you.
You mentioned talking about the content pillar, and focusing on what you were doing. I was wondering, do you think that it's a good idea to have one content pillar or one thing you focus on all the time, or to have 4 or 5 that you rotate through, or does it depend on the business or what you're doing?
It very much depends on your business and what you're doing. I think if you look kind of high level at your year, as an example, and look at what is happening in your customers' world at different times throughout that year, you will start to notice that there are seasons to your business. So there are certain times of the year where events and conferences happen, for example. There are certain times of the year where like people might be looking to upskill, or like, you know, in January everybody wants to lose weight and get fitter, and we make these great resolutions. So thinking about the things that happen in your customer's world, and then start to break that down into, well, what problem are you helping them solve, and how can you be creating content at that time that best matches what it is they're looking for. There's not one size fits all. It is very much about your customers and your audience. Tim?
You mentioned the storytelling framework, or
Yes.
the message, the evidence, and whatever
The
the action. I've never heard that. So could you give an example of how that would work in practice? I mean, I kind of get the idea, but what would be a genuine case of using that particular framework?
Yeah, so if you think about, you're in the newsagents, okay, we're going real old school here, and you've got newspapers in front of you. They have a headline and they have an image, and they have a little bit of a blurb before they have all the long form content. So which of those newspapers makes you go, I want to pick this up and read it? So is it the headline? Is it the image that they've used? Is it the value that they're giving within the narrative? So when it comes to social media, thinking about what's your headline, what's your hook, what's the big question, what is going to make your audience thumb-stopping content, what's going to make them stop and want to read more. So asking a question and then having the message is maybe 3 or 4 pieces of value to validate that, and then at the end is your call to action. So find out more, ask me a question in the DMs, join my mailing list, whatever your call to action might be. So straight away that social media post has purpose, it has meaning, but you're also given value.
Great. Any more questions? Oh, fantastic. It's like a snowball, isn't it?
I post for restaurants,
Yes.
and they don't have any live events and stuff like that. One do, but the majority don't.
Yeah.
So if I want to grow a community,
Yeah.
and really they're not interested in cooking, we might show the behind the scenes. If I post, so for example, if the restaurant's in Worcester, if I post stuff about Worcester, would that be good or have a negative effect on that feed?
So what is it that makes that restaurant different? It's the people and the place. And so it's talking about the people and the place that's going to attract an audience. Because I can go and get, if I'm going out for my dinner, why do I choose that restaurant over the one down the street? So it'll be about the service, about the people, and about the place. And that's the stories that you want to be telling, because that's what makes it a little bit different.
But if I run out on the place,
Yep.
is it worth me going further afield? Not exactly, but maybe talking about the newsagent down the road, Joe Bloggs the road.
It has to be relevant to your audience. So if there's a similar share in audience between the newsagents and the restaurant, then you're going to want to have that collaboration. If you want to be part of and at the heart of that community, then they are the stories that you're going to want to be telling. But if you're trying to attract outward in, then the local newsagent might not be the best collaborator for that. Yeah?
Great. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Any other questions? No? Oh, yeah, we do. Bring them in, right in there. Late show. Like an auction, isn't it? Go on.
Yeah. Going once, going twice.
Yeah, go.
You mentioned the key point is understanding your customers.
Yeah.
Now, what tools and what strategies we can use to, and I'm going to give you an example.
Yeah.
I want customers that think, use, and see the Land Rover Discovery as an example as something useful. So how do I find out where they spend their time, what problems they have, what clothes they use, those types of things, so that I can understand their problems?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question, and I should have included some resources within this. So HubSpot is a brilliant tool to use, and it offers a free customer persona building platform and asks you all of those sorts of questions. Depending on your budget, you can recruit a market research agency who would do a lot of that on your behalf, who would do a lot of that sort of in-depth research. You can also look at reports like through Kantar, so they would be a big media company, and they would give you insights into what platforms like different demographics are spending their time on, and start to have a bit of understanding as to where, looking at like competitors and where they're spending their time and money on advertising, and then start to replicate that for your own organic. But HubSpot's a good place to start.
Sorry, really quick question. How do you spell that? Kantar?
Kantar. I know my accent, sorry.
No,
Cool. Great. Any more questions? No? All good? Fantastic. Great.
Look,
Ashleigh, that good?
Thank you all so much. I was just going to say, if you think of a question or there's something pops into your head, like I'm here until about 3, I have to get a flight back to Belfast.
Cool.
But message me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you all.